everybody. Just testing. Trying to make sure we're all set. Okay, we are live. Now what about the video? Can somebody make a comment? Let me know if you can hear my audio. Can you hear me? Hold on, we're going to start as soon as I get confirmation that you can hear the audio. Oh, yeah. Can you hear my voice? Okay. That means yes, you can hear my voice. I see Natan and Lynn saying you're on. Yes. So I guess that means that we are ready to roll. Okay. Just need one more person to confirm that you can hear my audio. Just comment yes. Loud and clear. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rabbi Teldon. I'm a shliach with the Rebbe in Long Island. I've been out here for about 42 years now, and it's been a very challenging and very fulfilling, very amazing 42 years together with my wife. And thank God we've had the schus and the merit to be shluchim of the Rebbe and to grow our iskashrus, our connection to the Rebbe, over the course of all these years, through our many programs and activities. I want to thank GLI for giving me this opportunity to be able to share some thoughts concerning the purpose of tests. It's a very difficult topic. It's a topic, though, that's very close to my heart, partly because of some very difficult tests that my wife and I went through during the course of our lives, and which I will share. But I want to start off also by saying that I'd like to tell you a story. I am by nature apolitical, but I really like the story, especially since it's during a presidential year. And again, I'm staying totally away from any politics. But in the 2000 campaign, so Vice President Gore went down to Florida. And he went to a nursing home, and he was introducing himself to different people. And he went to one elderly gentleman that was in a wheelchair. And he said to him, "Hello, do you know who I am?" So the gentleman said to him, "No, but if you want to know, you can go to the front desk and they'll probably be able to tell you." So I love that story because to me it's not just a joke. There's really a lot to it. And I'm going to get to it a little later to describe how I read that. And I think it's something that can be a story that we can learn from in our lives, as we will see. So in general, what I want to do is I want to try to talk about the topic of purpose and tests themselves, what they're all about. The Rebbe explains a lot concerning tests in different Maimorim and Hasidic discourses, many sichas, and there are all types of tests that we have in life. And we wake up every single morning and we say, "God, please don't test me. Al teviyeni lidei nisayon." And then we go into tests and we get tested. And of course, the whole of humanity, the whole of the world population is being tested now. This is a pretty heavy test. And there's a big cost to this test. It's not an easy test. And a lot of people on many different levels are getting tested. You have those people who are going through very personal, very tragic, very grief-stricken tests. You have those people who are just overwhelmed by the situation. Perhaps they work as health people, health care individuals and professionals, to whom we all take off our hat and thank them sincerely for all that they're doing. They're being tested as well. You have people who lost their job or lost some of their income or don't know what their future is going to be as far as their parnasa and their income for their home and their family is going to be. And then you have many of us, like myself, who are in quarantine, who we're being tested also. Now, here it's just myself and my wife. I can't imagine being in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment with 3, 4, 10 children running around as well. So we all have some type of test that we're going through. So each person on their own level, I think, needs tools to be able to better understand or better map out how am I going to go through this test and come out with my head on top. And not just my head on top, my whole body on top. And I want to come out energized. I want to come out not drained. I want to come out with a feeling that I really went through an experience there that was very, very meaningful. I heard Governor Cuomo say once, recently in one of his press conferences just 2 weeks ago, he said, if we come out of this experience the same people we were beforehand, then it was a waste. What we're doing now and what we're trying to accomplish and what we're all experiencing is something that every single one of us should grow from, whether it be in terms of how we relate to our spouses, how we relate to our children, to our parents, how we deal with our income, how we appreciate things in the world around us that we never stop to appreciate, how we realize what a core family is all about and that everything else really are the extras that we should be so happy that we're able to indulge in. So there's many ways to approach this test, and that is something we're going to talk about. So before we start, I want to share with you a couple of stories concerning tests that people have in life and why there is purpose behind these tests. First story is about a person who came out to speak for us. She was in a wheelchair, and she was relating stories about the challenges of being in a wheelchair. It was very powerful, personal sharing that she gave to us. And this story was about her waiting on a bus stop, and it was freezing cold outside. Literally, she was freezing, and she was obviously not dressed for the occasion. And first bus came by. It was not a handicap bus. So it stopped, said, "I'm sorry, lady, I can't help you," and kept on her way. She continued to freeze for another 15 minutes. Another bus came by, stopped, opened the door. It was handicap access. But the blow of cold air that came into that door, the driver said, "I'm sorry, lady, I can't do this. I'm not up to this now." He closed the door and he drove on. She was livid. She was so angry. She was consumed by anger, and while freezing, the combination, she didn't know what she could do with herself. Till 15 minutes later, another bus, a handicap access bus, finally came by and stopped and got her on the bus. When she got to the bus depot, she contacted the manager, and she said to the manager, "That second driver, I want him fired. What he did to me was so terrible." And the manager stopped her in her tracks. She said, "Lady, I want to tell you something. Maybe 10 minutes after..." Oh my gosh, okay, I gotta get rid of this. Okay, sorry about that. I thought I turned my phone off, and obviously I did not. Okay, now my phone is off. Sorry about that. So I want to tell you that 10 minutes perhaps after you left, after he left you, his battery went dead. You would have been stuck on that bus without heat, without a battery, and freezing. So fortunately, that happened to you. And all of a sudden it clicked in her mind. You mean there was a purpose why that happened to me? At the time, I didn't see it. I didn't understand it. But I understand now there was a purpose. Another story. Chabad camp over in Jersey. A lawyer with his family sends his children to the Chabad camp. First week of camp, what happens? The son breaks his leg. Father thinks it's negligence. He sues. He drops the case on September 12th of 2001. What happened? He worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, and he was supposed to have his court appearance on September 11th in the morning. In the court, he heard about what happened, that his whole company was literally decimated. And as a result, he realized also, wow, there was a purpose why my son had that accident and fell and broke his leg. Third story. One of my classes, I was talking with one of the ladies there, and she told me how a few months beforehand, how her husband had been admitted to the hospital for some minor surgery. And fine, everything went well. Within a week, though, he caught a staph infection, and within a couple of days, he was gone. He was dead. She was so consumed by anger, by revenge, anger at God, anger at the doctors, anger at the hospital, anger at herself for allowing him to do this. It just consumed her. 2 months later, she got the autopsy report, which said that, even though we don't usually do autopsies, but she I don't know if it was required by law or what the situation was, but the autopsy report showed that her husband was in the early stages of pancreatic cancer. Now, in those days, there was no treatment at all for pancreatic cancer. It was a slow and most painful death. And she all of a sudden felt this sense of relief for what had happened. And she was first able to start mourning at that point. So she also looked back and said, "No, what? There was a purpose why he died then and there, because of the staph infection." So all these three different stories, you can very easily say these are all coincidences, that it just happened to work out that way, and we're reading into it, so forth and so on. But as Jews, there's a very interesting lesson that we learned. I'm sure those of you who have studied here in JLI before are familiar with what's called Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence. Now, divine providence, according to the Baal Shem Tov, is a revolutionary term which encompasses so much of understanding what goes on in our lives. That God is involved in details with renewing the world every day, every hour, every minute, every second, every millisecond, and putting his intent, his ratzon, his willpower into the creation of every atom, every cell, every molecule. That they are all part of this grand design that God has for this world. So that God's involvement in the world is very intense. And we look at God as being a very personal God who we can have a very personal relationship with, because there is that intense involvement that God has in the world. It's not just that God is somewhere up there, and up there there's one God as opposed to 2, 3, 4, or 5 gods. No, that's not it at all. That's a very elementary level of belief in God. Chassidus opens up our eyes to understand God's intensity and God's involvement in this world. But at the same time, it creates the problem as to why is God so hidden? Why is purpose so difficult to find out? Why are human beings the only ones that don't know what their purpose is? Everything else in the creation knows what its purpose is. God's intensely involved, doing all this, but keeps this secret as far as what our purpose is. That's concept number 1, Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 is what we call Tikkun Olam. And that's a term which means elevating the world, fixing the world, perfecting the world. But the basic idea is that it's considered by all branches of Judaism to be really the root of what reason God created the world for. That a perfect God created an imperfect world with imperfect human beings for us to be able to become his partners in the process of perfecting this imperfect world and making a garden out of this world. In other words, that we ourselves should be able to be, of our own volition, of our own free choice, be able to choose to make and transform this imperfect world into a garden for God, to be able to reveal himself, which of course we believe will happen in the Messianic era, that all flesh will be able to see that it is the mouth of God that is uttering every single creation into being. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these two ideas and we're going to marry them. We're going to merge them. What we're going to do is we're going to see how really in God's creative process, from millisecond to millisecond, God is creating all the imperfections in the world for each individual, for the world at large, and every single person, in a way that they will have the tools they need, the challenges they need, in order to be able to fulfill their specific purpose in life. Now, we all know we have a general purpose in life, the way it's defined by Torah. We have Torah and mitzvahs. We have tremendous challenge. We have beautiful tradition to be able to inspire us, to be able to work together with all of humanity to elevate this world. But what's unique about your world, your life, your challenges? How do you know that they are yours? And the way we know is because God has created them for you right now, at this second, in order to be able to give you the tools and the challenges you need to be able to accomplish what you need to accomplish. Now, this really goes into a lot of detail as far as how do we relate to this. As I mentioned, the Rebbe talked a lot about these types of the means we have in order to be able to elevate the world. The Rebbe talked about Torah and mitzvahs. The Rebbe talked about tshuva, how through repentance, especially repentance from love, we're able to transform the world around us. The Rebbe talked about Kaddish Atzmacha B'Mitulach, about sanctifying all those things that we do that are permissible to us, that are not specifically in the realm of Torah and mitzvahs, to be able to elevate those things also, which I go into at great length in my book. And the fourth thing the Rebbe talks about is these tests. That these tests are a fourth and major means of being able to accomplish our purpose. Why are they so important in order to be able to accomplish our purpose in life? Why are tests such a crucial part of our daily life? And the answer is that I think is as follows. All the other realms of elevating the world, making the world better, making ourselves better, they're all done within our comfort zone. They're all done in a way that we feel within our limitations, this is what I can do, and we can make ourselves feel good that we really are going the extra yard, we're going the extra mile, we're doing for somebody, we're going out of our way for somebody. It's only with tests that we're pushed up against the wall, that we're put in a situation where we have to resort to digging into our deepest crevices of our personality or of our circumstances, of our resources, of our whatever we have, in order to be able to overcome an obstacle that we are facing in our lives. And because we have to go beyond our comfort zone, we are accomplishing something that we couldn't otherwise accomplish without any doubt. We are doing something that is so unique that even ourselves sometimes we are shocked by what we accomplish. You know how many people there are out there today who are accomplishing things they never imagined in their life they would be able to do? How many people in the health field, how many people in manufacturing that are making ventilators, how many people who are involved in all different aspects, the ripple effect of what this pandemic is causing, who are going so beyond their limitations. They're finding out things about themselves, God-given talents that lied dormant their whole lives, that now they are forced, so to say, they are pushed, they are urged to be able to dig deep, to be able to accomplish something. And in fact, sometimes the greatest things that have been accomplished by mankind have been done when we are up against the wall, when we have a certain urgency, when we feel that we really have to survive to do this, or when we feel we're in the zone. To me, feeling in the zone means I feel that I'm really aligned with my inner purpose. I'm really aligned with what God put me in this world to do, what He put me in this world to accomplish. It might not be something that I chose. It might not be something that I want. And that's where we get back to Vice President Gore. When that elderly gentleman told him, you have to go to the front desk and ask them, they'll tell you who you are. When we sometimes are in denial as to who we are, sometimes we kind of fudge a little bit. We say, I don't really have that problem. I don't really have this other problem, or I can handle it by myself, or I really don't want to be there. It makes me queasy, or I'm okay, you're okay. I'll just go along with the flow, and we don't really deal with important challenges or issues that push us in a certain direction. I once was counseling a lady about the many problems she felt in her life, and she told me, Rabbi, this is not the life I was meant to lead. This is not what I planned for. All these problems that I have in my life, these are not the things that I wanted to be spending my time on. It was very hard to break the news to her. But God has a plan for each and every single one of us. God knows our soul. God knows how we fit into the bigger picture, into the cosmos. He knows how we fit into the purpose for which He created the whole of the universe. He knows how crucial our role is in being able to complete the whole purpose of the whole universe's creation. And He knows what exactly are the tools that He needs to give us, that we need to be able to be a partner with Him in perfecting, elevating, refining, in order to be able to make sure that we do our part to make this whole world creation worthwhile from His end, in order to be able to accomplish the ultimate goal. So we like to plan our purpose. Yes, I have my purpose all designed out. I know exactly what it is. When I came out on Shlichus, I felt very confident what my purpose is. I'm a Shliach with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I came out to Long Island to grow the community, and wow, I got a punch in the stomach. Hold on. You've got an additional purpose also. There's something you have to go through. For whatever reason, my soul journey, whatever that is, I had to go through that. My wife had to go through that. My son and my other children had to go through that. Why? I have no idea. Will I find out after 120 years or after Techiyas and Mesim? God willing, I trust that we will. But in the meantime, I know one thing, that I had to rise to the occasion as best as possible in order to be able to fulfill my purpose at that time. And that's how my whole kind of, the research that I was doing from the time that my son was born, it was, as I said, for my emotional and spiritual survival, but it kind of went from why bad things happen to good people and morphed into more, what does it really mean to fulfill our purpose in life? Do I believe 100% that my son who died at 13 fulfilled his purpose in life? Yes. Do I know if I fulfill my purpose? I don't know. I don't know if I lived up to God's expectations of me or my soul's potential in dealing with that event in my life. Do I know that anything could happen to me anytime? I have no guarantee that God forbid, if other things couldn't happen also. Because I don't know ultimately what my purpose in life is. So why did God choose that right now at this time in history, that hundreds of millions, billions of people are going to have to go through this pandemic and experience the tests, individual tests. They're not massive tests. Each of us has our own way of dealing with this test, that somehow this is fitting into some bigger plan. Whether it be that Mashiach's right around the corner, which is my hope and prayer and wish, whether it be that there's some other cosmic meaning that God has for this, why we all are going through this at this moment, well, God knows. But what I know, and what we know, is that we have to rise to the occasion as best as possible. So I want to close up by sharing with you a story that happened with the Rebbe, and it gives us a very clear idea how every challenge that you have, that I have, is custom made for you. Whether it be an event you had in your childhood, and your third grade teacher said something to you, whether it be an accident you had which caused you to spend a month in the hospital, whether it be a scar that you have, God forbid, from abuse, whether it be something that happened recently, or a problem that you found out that your spouse has, that your child has, that your parents have, whatever it might be. I don't have to go into details. There are millions and millions of different imperfections in this world that we live in. But that each one that you have, I don't have necessarily. Your next door neighbor doesn't have it. Your beautician doesn't have it. Your barber doesn't have it. It's the same package of imperfections that you have. Only you have that package which is yours. And own it. Own it, because it helps you fulfill your purpose. It helps you to define what challenges in life you need to face in order to be able to fulfill your purpose. And if tests are part of it, then let that be part of it. We don't ask for it, but we don't make the final decision what challenges and difficulties I'm going to go through in life. So this lady goes into the Rebbe, and she tells the Rebbe that I have this problem, I have that problem, I have lots of problems. And the Rebbe looks at her, and the Rebbe says the following, and I want you, if you just remember this of everything that we said so far, just remember this. The Rebbe said, you don't have problems, you have challenges. Take that in. Because the way I interpret that is that when we look at the present compared to the past, wow, I got a problem. 2 months ago, I was flying high, the market was good, everything was fine, my whole family was healthy. I got this problem, that problem, all of a sudden I've got all these problems. That's where problems come from, when we look backwards. If we look forward, the Rebbe is saying, you have challenges. I know what I have to do. I know what I need to rise to the occasion to face. I know what specifically are the challenges in my life right now that I need to step up to the plate to be able to deal with. And whatever they might be, from small to large, I know that defines who I am. And it's going to define what kind of person I am. And my children, or my associates, or my business friends, or my cousins, or my family, they're also going to define each other on how did you react during the pandemic. Did you collapse? Did you fall on the bed? Did you give up? Did you get depressed? Did you panic? Did you just get totally absorbed by problems? Or did you just say, you know what? God's creating the world. He created a new, right now at this second. It is a new world. And part of that world is that I have this and this and this challenge that I need to face. And thank God that I'm alive. Thank God that I have the ability to be able to face those challenges. And I'm confident that God, who is a God of kindness and love, has a purpose for why I have to face these challenges today and now. And when I look at my relationship with God, and I look at the purpose for my soul, and I look at the challenges that I have, and I can still be appreciative for all the good things that God is blessing me with, and all the wonderful relationships I still have, and all the things that really have come through for me in my life over the course of my years. And I can say, you know what? Okay, so I didn't have these particular challenges before, and some of them may be very big, but I can do it. I know that I have what it takes. And when you know you have what it takes, and you look at all these problems as challenges, and you dig deep, deep, deep within, using your free choice, and using your willpower, as I define at great length in the book, you're able to accomplish things you never thought you're able to accomplish. So I want to ask God for a blessing for all of us, that we should all rise to the occasion. And those who need to heal should heal, whether it be from grief, whether it be from the pain of loss, whether it be from the pain of separation from things that were so important to us, or people who were so meaningful to us and dear to us. And God should give us the strength to be able to dig deep and be able to overcome whatever the challenges that we have in life as a result of life in general, or the pandemic in particular, in order to be able to really fulfill our purpose, our individual purpose in this life. And may He give us all that strength, and may it carry us through for many, many months, many years to come. I hope we'll see you also this Thursday night for the Chabad.org class on Path to Purpose. You can see it on Chabad.org. It starts at 7 o'clock for 4 consecutive weeks. And God bless you, and may we all have good news to share in the near future. Have a good day.